Well, here's a treat for you all. We've been showing videos all summer. We've been doing Zoom calls all summer. We've played 9 days of madness until basically the tape's worn out. And we've got two of the heroes from that 2017 playoff campaign. And we've talked about iconic goals, and we've showed, God, so many Steelers goals over this lockdown period. But the two goals we've showed the most, these two guys scored. So Dave will hit the button. And firstly, a huge welcome to Guillaume Desbiens and Levi Nelson. Welcome home, boys.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Levi, you don't look like you've aged a minute.
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that. Just give us a bit of a biop of since you left. What have you decided to do with yourselves? What are you doing now in 2020? Start with you, Desi.
Yeah. So when I retired, I guess took a job, and now I'm in the middle of finishing this job as well. It's been good. I coach some high school hockey as well. Here in Minnesota, so that keeps me busy. Kind of gets me foot in the game, I guess. Otherwise, as probably everybody knows that retires, Levi, kind of want to kind of stay involved a little bit. Otherwise, you start kind of missing it a little bit, and that's kind of been my way of staying in the game. But I got to say, it's nice on Friday nights and Saturday nights to be home and have a glass of wine with the family and not having to be anywhere and getting your body bruised and waking up the next morning not able to walk. So it's been a little bit of a change, but it's been good.
Talking about not being able to walk, Levi, how's your body and what's it doing at the moment?
Yeah, kind of same like Desi. I think it was a little bit of an adjustment just going into retirement. I don't have any schooling. I wasn't too sure what I was going to do, but fortunately, luckily enough, I got a job with the city of Calgary in water services. So it's a pretty good gig, and also like Desi, just focusing on the family. And we got 3 girls now, and life's crazy, life's busy. I wouldn't have it any other way, and it's it's just nice sitting back and relaxing on those weekends, like Desi said, and spending time with the family.
What do you miss most, Desi? Is it the highs, like the high you had in 17? Is it the games, or is it just the crack in the week with the boys turning up in the locker room? What would you miss the most about playing?
I mean, a little bit of all the above, I guess. But for me, it was easy to retire, I guess, because we had that incredible win in overtime thanks to Levi. It was unbelievable, and I felt like it capped it off. And for me, I was like, okay, I'm never going to match this high, right? Like the season we had, the playoffs we hit, the run we did, like even if you script it, there's no way that we can do something like this again. So I'm not going to find that high. And you playing hockey, you chase it every year, right? That's the high that you're chasing. And I was like, well, it's not going to happen again, right? So when I got that job offer, and I was like, it's time. But and then, every morning in the locker room is kind of, the cool thing. You grab your coffee and, the banter between the boys in the locker room. You do miss that, but I find it now coaching, like the high school boys, they're probably as worse as we were. I think they're stuff that they say in the locker room. So I get that a little bit every day when we coach. This year, so far we've been pushed back, and like everybody else across the world, we haven't played yet. And we're talking about early January, but, on a non-pandemic year, it's been good to kind of reminisce with the memories of hockey.
Levi, what about you? Because you were always in the middle of everything that was going on. What do you miss most about a life as a professional hockey player?
Yeah, also like Desi said there, just being around the guys, just that locker room atmosphere, and just showing up to the rink every day, coming to practice, being around the guys, like Desi said, the banter, all that kind of stuff, and you just miss everything about the game, really, right? It's nice that Desi's still involved, coaching. That's pretty cool. I mean, a lot of people have asked me if that's something I'd be wanting to get into, but I've had a couple opportunities, but for the meantime, right now, just kind of focus on me and the family and work. And we actually just bought a new house, so we're just kind of settling down, life after hockey. I mean, Desi's moved into it a little bit quicker than I did with the house and family and all that kind of stuff, jobs. But we're still finding our way, and I think maybe a year or two down the road here it might be something that I'd get into with coaching and even just helping out on practices in Airdrie here with some teams. But for the most part, just yeah, it's nice being retired.
You were one of the most superstitious guys, though, because like I'd get to the rink early and you were always before me. And then you always had that thing. I loved it, especially on road games where I'd be outside the dressing room and you were the first guy out. And I love that you were so kind of into it all the time. Can you get that intense? Can you get that passionate about a regular job? I know I can't. Can you?
Funny enough, I do. I mean, it'll never be the same as getting ready for a hockey game or showing up to the rink. That's a pretty special feeling that, you miss every day. But, funny enough, I mean, you get paid by the hour at work, right? I've always been a guy that's been early for things, and I'm at work 45 minutes early, right? Just getting prepped and ready and getting your work cut out and, making sure you know what you're going into for the day. And I think that's something that I'll always have. And, it's just not as fun being early for hockey. That's for sure.
There's the other people watching this, me included. Sheffield's our life. The Steelers are the only club that matters. And you guys have all played for different clubs. But when you sit back and you look back, what did Sheffield mean to you? And what does it mean to you now when you look back and you have that glass of wine on a Saturday night and perhaps have those thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, for us, it means a lot because that's where we finish as a family, right? That's where our last memories of a hockey career will be in Sheffield. So that means a lot. And when I transferred from Slovenia, I just had a pretty big concussion and didn't know really what was going to happen, how it was going to be. Knew a little bit about England, didn't know much. So just the way that I was welcome and we were welcome as a family and kind of made part of the community, really. It's a big city, but at the same time, it's, pretty tight knit and pretty, it's kind of like hockey. It's a small community when you think about it. And we just felt very welcome. The fact that there's, that core group of Brits that were already there, it's really easy to kind of join. And, I knew a couple guys on the team. So it was really, really good memories at the end. And we capped it off with 2 good years, that we won trophies. So it's just, it'll be memories, and it'll be the last memories I've had in hockey. And probably, that playoff run with, that goal against Nottingham and Levi's goal against Cardiff. I mean, you can't really script it any better. So if there was a way to go out, that was the best way for me.
Was that the same for you, Levi? Because the fans took to you instantly, your crazy all-action hero style right off the bat. Is Sheffield going to have a little bit of a special place and your time with the Steelers?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you look back, it's probably one of the special places we got to play over my career. I mean, probably one of the best fan bases you could have in hockey. It's just unbelievable. I mean, still to this day, there's people reaching out, messaging you and, trying to, it just shows you that you're a special part of their life. And, it's just pretty cool looking back. And like Desi said, with the family there, we had, the girls were old enough that they understand. And, it was a pretty funny story. We came back here, I was retired, and there's senior men's hockey here in Alberta. And Lacombe Generals, they kept trying to get me on board and play with them. And, it was humming and hawing. And I finally ended up saying yes. Ended up playing with them, and the girls were all super excited. And it was pretty funny. The girls, Sheffield was home for them. Sheffield was hockey. And, when we told them, hey, we're going to go watch a hockey game, and they're talking about all the hockey guys, and they're talking about all these Sheffield stories, and their friends they made along the way, and all these different players. And so they were pretty disappointed when we showed up to the rink and it's just little beer league hockey pretty much, right? So they definitely have a lot of memories of Sheffield, and that's it's pretty special, them talking about it over all these years.
Let's talk
Just
about
to
it then.
piggyback
Let's
on
talk
Levi
about.
there, since Levi and I, would come on Saturday when we had optional practice with Tomo, and we'd bring our oldest girls to the locker room, and kind of they're just been running around kicking the soccer ball and hanging out at the rink or
Yeah.
doing whatever, and you, you just don't get that in a regular life. You don't get to bring your kids to work on Saturday mornings or Friday mornings, whenever that is. So that's good memories that I think we're both going to bring throughout our lives.
You want to see Oscar Dowd now? He runs the room.
I could imagine he'll be playing for the
Yeah,
Steelers next year.
He's a terror. The lad's a terror. Let's talk. The reason that you're on is that you are iconic figures in an iconic time, and it all surrounds that playoff run of 2017. Did you watch 9 Days of Madness that we put together when you'd all flown home, which was that like 4 hours of the 9 days that we put there with Davey and Jono, and I think Fitzy was in there as well, and Ben O'Connor, and it summed up that incredible 9 days from game one against Nottingham until the final outcome and Levi's goal against Cardiff. I just wondered what your thoughts were when you look back at that. Please tell me you watched it.
Yeah, it's at least once or twice a year I watch it. Sometimes I'm in bed at night and I'm just on my phone and it somehow pops up on my Facebook, or you reshare it, Cindy, or something like this, and I see it. I'm like,
Yeah.
now I have to watch the whole thing again. I'm like, because you can't just stop when you start it. So, and I'm in bed. My wife's about to go to sleep, and she's like, "Really? Like, are you going to turn off the sound at some point, or put your earphones or something?" But no, like a couple of times a year, I definitely watch it. It's just great memories, and brings back feelings and emotions that I love my job. I love what I do now, but I don't go on and sell like construction equipment, getting super high and pumped up about my day like I did when I jumped on the ice when I walked that tunnel at the arena. So it's just not the same. So it just brings back good memories.
What about you, Levi?
Yeah,
Surely the girls have watched
like
it.
Desi, it comes up all the time, and that's the girls. They both have their iPads, and somehow they get to it all the time. It's a little more frequent, maybe 3-4 times a year, I guess. They come up and they're watching, and they're seeing all these different guys that they remember, and it's pretty cool. It brings back a lot of memories, a lot of feelings, and that's probably one of the most special years in hockey we'll ever have, or will have, I guess. But it brings back a lot of memories, and just like it was just the other day, it's a cool feeling, that's for sure.
Desi, when Nottingham went 4-0 up on the Saturday, though, I don't think any of us could have imagined it was going to have the final outcome that it did. It was a horrible, horrible period of time, wasn't it?
It's bad. And before going in the playoffs, I knew that I was retiring, right? So I hadn't told anybody. Actually, Royce knew. He's the only guy that I had told. And when we went down 4-1, I was like, I'm not going to go out this way. Like, there's no way that my career is going to end on a low like this. There's no way, because it felt like, it's pardon the language, but it felt like shit, really. It was bad. And then the fact that, we were able to chip at it and slowly come back and make it, a game, going into the game in Sheffield, now I was like, okay, now we got them. Like, we got them where we want them. We're coming back. We got momentum. So it didn't feel good for good 2 periods. It felt really, really bad. And when you start winning in Nottingham, it's awesome. You kill the crowd. There's no noise. But when they get the momentum, it's a loud building, let's be honest. And it just kind of, you feel like the ceiling crumble on you as they get louder and louder. And it felt that way for sure 2 periods. And, when McGrattan did that celebration after, I was just going crazy on the bench. I was like, no. This is not going to happen. Not that guy especially. So I was happy that we were able to claw back.
Every time that guy tweets, we have to keep showing him the video back. We keep going back with how it ended. He only has, I think the concussions got to him. He only ever remembers the Saturday. Levi, everybody will talk about the goal that ended the series, but actually you scored in all the playoff games, including that one. You brought it back to 4-1. I think Walks brought it back to 4-2. And I think we were we were okay at 4-2, weren't we? But then right at the very end, they got that all-important 5th goal, and it kind of deflated us again, didn't it? What was it like in the dressing room 5-2 defeat. What was that like?
Yeah, I mean, we know what we were getting into, right? I mean, obviously it was deflating, and going into the room, and you're down, and then you're just thinking like, man, what's going on, what's happening. I think we regrouped. I mean, like Desi said, we all had a goal in mind, and I think yeah, we had to get ready for the next one, right? That's the way it had to be. Um,
When you got to the rink, I mean, like when you look back at 9 days, all the guys that we filmed then, they went, yeah, we had this great feeling. We had this great feeling about the Sunday. But hand on heart, did you really drive into the arena in the car park, getting into the building? What was really going through your minds? You're 3 goals down against a very good Nottingham side.
yeah, I think a lot of nerves, right? Like I I mean, obviously the doubt kind of it's there, but then it's not there. I'm a positive guy, and you like to think positive, and I'm always early, and I'm there before anyone, right? So I'm showing up to an empty building, coming into the rink, and it's just not too many people around, and you're just you know trying to get that feeling and trying to get that mental picture of coming back, and I think it was nice that we were able to claw back, and special feeling, that's for sure. Big goal by Desi there. It's what a feeling.
Yeah. Before we get to that, Desi, going back to the start, every player, every person, everybody in the club has a different role. Whether you like it or not, people look at you and they look to you. You're a leader. Whether you wear a letter or not, you're a guy they're kind of almost looking for something back from. Did you feel that, hey, this is going to be a little bit on my shoulders today? I'm going to have to kind of keep my morale good. I'm going to have to lead the way. Because I know, hey, I walk in there, I'm looking in your eyes to see what I can read off you. And it's you have those 2 or 3 players in every team that you want to take the read off them. How did you feel at that time?
Well, my feelings were a little skewed because I knew that I was kind of going away from the game. So it's kind of like that's Game 7 Stanley Cup final that you're like, I'm going to leave it all out there and see what happens. And it was kind of how I felt about it. I was like, I'm going to wake up tomorrow or 2 days from now, and maybe I don't have the game in front of me anymore. Maybe I'm looking at a normal job. So that's pretty easy to motivate at this point if you're a hockey player. So for me, it was more about that. And I'm not. I mean, I talk. Don't get me wrong. I'm vocal, but in my way, it's not like a rah, like, hey, let's pump up, let's go, guys. I just try to do what I'm supposed to do and do my job to the best of my abilities, and hopefully, it drives guys in the locker room or on the ice to do the same thing. And if it showed that I tried to take the lead, great. It wasn't the goal by any means. It was more of I'm going to go out there, do my job, and do the best that I can to help the team and try to get out, a good foot, I guess, or a positive note. And, we really kind of got the momentum back in the end of the game. I think they scored with 10 seconds left to do the 5-2 or something like that. What was it, if I remember correctly? Yeah. And that kind of deflated everyone a little bit because we were on our march back, but we knew that we had gained momentum back and we're going, we knew we could score on them. Army did what he had to do at the start of the game in Sheffield. But at that point, I think the writing was on the wall for them. Even though they tied the game late, there was I think we knew we were coming back.
We're going through it goal by goal. Levi, did it cross the 9, that first one? Did it cross? I mean, from the White House, 300 foot away, I saw it about 3 foot over. But I'm one-eyed. What did you see?
I don't know. It crossed the line, right? I mean, how many? Yeah. I don't know. Obviously, you look back at it, the videos. It's tough to see, but I mean, right there, it was in. I celebrated like it was in, and whether I sold it or not, I don't know. It was in. That's all that matters.
Desi, we'll talk about the goals, but I quickly flicked through the goals before we did this, and I realised you were on the ice for probably one of the most important moments of that game. And just after Dowdy had been taken out, John got a 2-minute minor penalty in the corner. He ran a guy over, and I think it was Chris Lawrence had an incredible opportunity, and Moose made 1-2 saves, a kick save, really, really important. And
Yep.
Yeah, so
we talk about you two guys and your role, but Moose was outstanding that night as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean the sequence that you're referring to is probably the best example of we could have been done right there. And if
Yeah,
there was a goal there, we're probably done at that point. So those
absolutely.
two, and you said it right. It's a 1, 2, 3 back to back to back, and I was looking at my point and kind of looking at moves and kind of looking at things, and I'm like, this is going in, and boom, boom. I'm like, oh, and then we kind of went back the other way, and it flipped. The script flipped pretty quick on them, and I guess we could call it opportunistic for us. Our goalie did the big saves, and we took advantage of our chances right after. And hockey is a game of momentum, and if you can capture the momentum properly, most of the times you're going to end up front.
I think everybody in Nottingham still feels sick over the how it happened, but with Dan Green going in, the collision, John's 5-minute penalty, and then for them not to score on that 5-minute power play was one thing,
Mhm.
but then for Roddy to steal the puck and for Jono to break away. Levi, what was going through your head as John has skated away from you and Green
Oh,
faced his
that's
first shot?
yeah. Rod made a great play there off the boards, and Jono, he gets an opportunity like that. He's gonna pull away, and you look back and you watch that 9 days madness, and he said that if he gets a breakaway, he could tell if he's gonna score, right? And so you're just on the bench, and you see a guy like Jono that does so much for the team, and just the sacrifices he makes, and just the all around leader. And to see a guy like that get that kind of opportunity, and to see him put it in the back of the net, that was pretty special. And then seeing him, 100 fist pumps there, seeing him celebrate like that, just that gets you going. I mean, especially a guy like me, I love to celebrate after I score, and get the crowd into
Oh,
it. And if there's any guy that's going to celebrate, that's John like that, seeing him celebrate, that was pretty uplifting for sure.
I bet you he's
so
been
we're three
working on
goals
his
down.
fist bump since then a little bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He celebrates well now. 2-0 going into that locker room into the second period where we're 2-0 up, we're a goal down. What's the feeling like then? Is it we've got them? What is it, Desi?
I think at that point, I think we felt like we were going to make it happen. Every period, I think it said it in that video, the 9 Days of Madness. Tomo would come in and like, all right, won that period, it's over, next one, and it was kind of it naturally became a goal of ours to just win every period until the end. And we knew if we won every period, that either would end up with a tie and go take it to overtime, or if we won it by a couple goals, then we would win the game. So naturally, it became our goal in every period. We were chalking it off the board, and happened. And going into the third, nothing really changed. We just came out, and again, we had the momentum, and we're literally that game. We can argue that the first game in Nottingham, they outplayed us the first couple periods, but I think in Sheffield, even all 3 periods of them, we literally took it to them. And I can't remember what were the shots or scoring chances of that game, but I can't imagine they had too many. We were all over them.
Yeah, yeah. Marcus as well. Marcus Nielsen playing with Warren Fretta. Straight off the face off, Levi. You'd have been on the bench watching that, as we all would have just been watching down on it. And what an important player he turned out for us, Marcus Nielsen, eh? Start of the year, nobody knew him. End of the year, everybody raved, didn't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, he's a big part of our team. Great player, and yeah, it's nice to see him get involved there. And I think everybody played a part, and yeah, it was it's the way we wanted
Yeah.
it.
Again, going to the fourth goal, you were both on the ice. Five forwards on the power play on Dowdy's goal, the 4-0. And the great celebration, Dowdy's incredible celebration. It had to be him, didn't it? Eh? It had to be the golden child. Both of you individually, start with you, Desi. Talk us through that shift, what you remember, because that was just another iconic moment, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm not sure what I was doing there, but on the ice, I don't know. Maybe Tom with the black towels like it does. You go out there, I don't know, but I knew for me it was just kind of going in front of the net, and I knew let these guys play. I'm not the playmaker on the ice, right? That's I know who I am, and let these guys make the plays and try to create a screen or some traffic to help. And I mean, you see them move the puck around. It was pretty impressive in that power play how it went around, and it was hard for me in front of net to keep track. And Levi and I are just trying to, kind of create havoc in front of the net or trying to see what we could do. And sure thing, I mean, Doughty's got a heck of a shot and, he let it go. And, like you said, the golden child came through and there's, it was just an incredible feeling at that point, to know that we, took almost, did we take the lead there or we tied it? My memory is kind of going away a little bit.
That took us 4-0, so that took us 1 goal ahead, yeah.
Yeah. So we were up by one. So I was like, all right, in our head, I think we had maybe got ahead a little bit. We kept a comeback and, they tied it after. But for us, we're like, oh, we did it. And I think it was his celebration was a sight of relief. I think, he's kind of just like letting it all go with his arm in the
his
air.
hands in the air. It's just, yeah.
David Beckham, that's who he thinks he was. Levi, you and Dowdy and Andreas as well for a large part of it, but you and Dowdy's relationship was telepathic almost. So when your best mate scores a goal like that, it's such an important time. Your feelings on that shift, that goal, and the building, it just probably the loudest it had been until about an hour later.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, getting. I've always been a guy that likes to pass the puck and let my line mates score. And like you said, me and Dowdy created a great relationship, and he was a goal scorer. So like Desi said, that shift we were out there just creating havoc out front there, and they kind of did their thing. And to see Dowdy put that goal in and his celebration, like Desi said, just like a sigh of relief, like, hey, like we did it. We came back from this deficit, and it was a shift to remember, and a pretty special feeling. And like you said, up until that time, that's probably the loudest I've heard that building, and that was pretty amazing. That's for sure.
Desi, if that was the high, a couple of minutes later, you were on the ice for the low. When Lawrence scores that goal with 8 seconds remaining to make it 4-1, which took it into overtime. Give us your feelings from that moment, what you remember of that shift.
Yeah, if I felt not very good in Nottingham after those few goals, I think I felt worse there because as a player, I'm going to score my odd goals, but that's not really, I'm not the guy that we rely on to score every game, right? And but what I'm relied on is being reliable and defense with, Jono and I go on the ice. It's like, Tom will probably thought to his head, like I'm sending my guys that I rely on and they're going to close it up and here we go. And for us to go and kind of screw it up, I guess, and not that we made any mistake by any means, but, by not, we both dove in front of shots that just missed us by a couple inches and then just kind of trickled in and got tipped in front. And, it was disappointing, but the fact that we knew that we were just all over them the whole game and just kind of creating chances and they didn't have all that much. Yes, it was deflating, but I think at that point in our head, we were so confident anyway that it wasn't an issue. But anytime you go in overtime, you don't know what's going to happen. A bad bounce one way or the other and game's on your side or not. So
there was a change of rules that year where overtime there was going to have the ice cut. And because there was only 8 seconds left, like in a regular season game, you just flip it and you just go straight into OT, and they had a bit of momentum. Did it help getting back into the room rather than just starting an overtime period 8 seconds later? I'll go with you on that one, Desi.
I don't know if obviously it helped because we ended up winning, but, as a player, you kind of want to forget about everything as fast as you can, being positive or negative. You score and you kind of want to turn the page and go the other way. Now, Nottingham probably would have tried to keep the momentum going, but for us, we had to go in the locker room and think about what we had just done for, 20 minutes. We were like, hey, we just made an incredible comeback, but then we kind of let them tie it up at the end. So I don't know if it's good or bad, really. I don't know if it made a huge difference or not. If anything, we were able to rest up a little bit and get our legs and we're able to come back a little bit more healthy, I guess. Levi is pretty banged up, so it gives a little bit everybody a break to come back stronger.
When Nottingham scored that goal, Levi, you were on the bench. What was the emotion like on the bench? Deflated, I would imagine.
Yeah, deflating. I mean, hockey's a game of emotions, right? So, obviously the first game there are up and down, the emotions up and down, and we're coming back that first game, and then we let a late one in, then you're going downhill, and then you come to the rink, you get a goal, and you're up, then you're down. So obviously, yeah, it was a little bit deflating, but I think it was good that we got the ice skate. We got to go back to the room, refocus, make sure our heads are clear and know what our focus was for going back out there. You can't get too high, can't get too low, and I think that we did it perfectly. Come back in, that was we dominated that game. I mean, so just to have those ranges of emotions up and down, it was it was I don't know. It was awesome.
We've had about 20 polls in the summer. The greatest goal, the most iconic moment inside the arena. And Desi, what happened next was the clear winner, probably most iconic moment in 30 years of the Steelers, that precise overtime goal, because it was against them and we dislike them so much, because the way it happened, and just because of the way it happened as well with what had happened the night before, McGrattan and all of that. But talk us through that. I'm sure when we see this come out, Dave will have clicked it with highlights of the goal as well. So just in your own head, talk us through what happened in those few seconds leading up to it.
Yeah, I mean, every time I go into overtime, usually in my mind, I'm always thinking it's going to go quick, it's going to go long. So being tired, how tired we were, I was like, let's make it quick, or try to make it quick as much as we can. And, I got to the ice, and I think it was Jace that did the poke check on, I can't remember who their player was for Nottingham, but I know Jace poked it out. Oh, that's what it was, yeah. One of their more reliable players anyway, right? And Jace made a heck of a play there. And I was going down, and my good buddy on the other team, Logan McMillan, was on the back end, and I knew they were short with defensemen. So, and he plays really well as a forward on D, but he's still a forward on D. I can't skate backward to save my life, so I know it's pretty hard to take someone one-on-one. Now, I'm not the fastest, so I'm not the hardest to contain, but I was like, I'm going to try to do my best and use my body and try to go around him. And didn't really think I was going to score when I went in. I was just really trying to get it to the net because I knew somebody else was coming, to maybe grab a rebound or something like that, or even create just a chance, get a face off, get a change, get, Levi and Dowdy on, and maybe they can make a pretty good play on the face off. And once I knew that I got a step on him, I was like, okay, now actually I got a shot at maybe scoring this. And don't know if you can notice, but I think I was going top cheese on this, and I went 5-0. So it worked.
It worked. I can tell you what it was like in the White House, Levi. It just went crazy, papers everywhere, coffee cups everywhere, the whole place. But you were down there at ice level in the mix of it. Tell us, as he skated past you and as he got closer and closer to Dan Green's goal, what was the bench doing? What was happening there?
Yeah, once he's seen Desi, have a step on him, and he's skating down the wall there, and he starts cutting to the net. Everybody just, you're antsy. You're getting up. And sure enough, when he goes and puts it in, it's just what a feeling. It was pretty cool. I'm pretty sure I was on the ice before he even went in, coming out there to help celebrate.
Desi,
I was trying to get away from everyone on the ice to celebrate, but some people just kept tackling me. Leave me alone. I want to skate all over the place. And then somebody tackled me. I was like, all right, I'm too tired. I'm staying down.
And the atmosphere that night, when you are flat on your back and you're looking up, and all you see is just the joy and the pure emotion that, okay, it's 4 years ago and we're still talking about it. It was such an incredible moment, and you're central to that. The feelings inside, the pride, I guess the family was proud. Everybody must have been just thrilled.
Yeah, no, it was. I mean, you dream of scoring goals in overtime when you're a little boy. It doesn't matter the league you're playing in. That's what you're striving to do when you play street hockey on the pond back in Canada. You're just like, oh, Nelson or Desbiens take it to the wide scores, and woo, crowd goes crazy, and you dream of doing that, right? You kind of picture that in your mind. So to actually do it once is kind of pretty special, especially the knowing how important that goal was for the team, for their organization. So that's going to be great memories. And I think we celebrated pretty good on the ice after, but I think we knew work wasn't over. There was quite a bit left actually. So you feel like you won something where you really didn't. You literally just made it to the semifinal. When you think about it, you didn't achieve anything other than beating Nottingham, which is worth something. But we knew we had a lot of work left to do.
Levi, what did you make of the playoff finals? That whole four team in the one building. You get there, you're playing Coventry. Sorry, you're playing Belfast in the afternoon. What was your thoughts as you entered that? And there's 10 teams of fans, 9 of them not wanting you to win, which was great, I thought. But
Yeah.
what goes through that whole before the Belfast game? What's going through your mind there?
Oh, it's pretty cool. I mean, first time we've been there, you hear what it's like, right? From everybody around the league, and especially the Brit guys there and guys that have been there before. They say how special it is, and so to actually be able to make it there and then show up there, and then you watch a game there, and then you see all the different fans from all the different fan bases and their blocks and their sections there. So, I mean, it was a pretty cool sight for sure, and I think yeah, it was definitely a weekend to remember. That's for sure.
Yeah, you started off as you'd left off, didn't you, Desi? Because you scored that all-important first goal against Belfast early doors, which was super important because then we just shut the door on them.
Yeah, I really we were playing good, but not as good as we played against Nottingham. And I think it's tough to match that level of emotion that we had felt against Nottingham and going to the Belfast game. It was an afternoon game, but for us, I think it was kind of a redemption time. The previous year we won the league, and whatever happened against Coventry, we weren't able to make it the playoff weekend. So everybody talks about the playoff weekend like it's amazing. As a North American, you don't quite grasp what it is, until you actually play in it and see it and feel it. And it was pretty cool to see all the fans there. It's really a good hockey celebration, and to be able to get that goal and get us moving past the game. And it was a pretty early goal. I think we scored it, and I think we kind of bared down defensively. We're like, we're going to hold on to that lead. We're not going to give up another lead. And then let's just see who makes it on the other side. But hopefully it's Cardiff, and we can beat them finally, for, try to get revenge from the Challenge Cup that we didn't win.
Yeah. Levi, you scored the second, and whilst Desi got the first, so you got the second. Really, Moose was the story of that semi-final, wasn't he? He was just off the charts.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, I mean, all playoffs, like even in the games leading up, I don't think we would have moved on without him, right? And I think that was his game, right? I mean, it was a good defensive game. I think our D, they stepped up, and I think everybody played their part, and I think it all led with Moose, right? Like made some big saves, and Desi had that big first goal, and it was a little bit of a different game, like you said. Obviously, high, fast paced against Nottingham, and we were kind of eased ourselves into it, and it was just a solid defensive game for everybody, and obviously getting empty net there, and sealing the deal, knowing that we're going on to the finals was pretty cool for sure.
It was a final like the neutrals wanted to see because it was the 1-2 team, and we'd gone head-to-head the year before, head-to-head this year, and Cardiff had just had the edge, hadn't they? Just pipped us to the league, pipped us in that cup final. It was so important that we stopped the rot there, wasn't it, Desi? And going into that final game against Cardiff, it was leave everything on the line.
Yeah, and they were going for the Grand Slam, and we want to take that away from them and not give them a chance to celebrate that. They beat us a couple of times in the Challenge Cup, and really, let's be honest, they had our number. Really, we had the hardest at the time to beat Cardiff, and they were really the team to beat. The 2 years I was there, even though we won the league the first year, and the second league we won the playoffs. Like Cardiff put up really, really good teams and competitive team and tough team to beat year in, year out. So for us to show up there at the playoffs weekend and being able to go to the finals and try to, take those Grand Slam hopes away, that was really, really our goal at that point. And we kind of start to, our big rivalry was Nottingham, but I think those 2 years at least that I was there kind of became to be Cardiff. We started hating these guys pretty bad. You only start hating teams that you have a hard time beating. So it was really, really the goal. It was beat these guys and get a little bit of redemption.
Just 7 days after that horrible night in Nottingham against Nottingham, Levi, and end of the first period, we're in a bit of a hole again. Do set 1-0, second minute on the power play. Army comes straight back, makes it 1-1. Haddad 2-1, and then just 42 seconds before the end of the first period, Joey Martin, who was a pain to us, wasn't he, over that period? He scored a power play goal, 3-1 down. Going into that room 3-1 down, was it a bit like the week before, or was there still more belief because of what had happened the previous?
Yeah, I mean, those kind of thoughts kind of go through your head, but I mean, we just had to regroup, right? We had to, come in, take a deep breath, don't let our emotions get the best of us. So, we're down by 2 goals. We know we could score goals, right? So we weren't worried about that. It was just, just trying to make sure that we were, getting our fluids in, getting our rest, and making sure we're ready to come out for that second period.
And Desi, I got here 4 minutes and 21 seconds of madness. Walker, you were on the ice for the 3-2 goal. Fretta showing emotion, showing real emotion after he scored and almost ended up in the crowd. And then Levi again, when you got a tip on Wazzy's slap shot. And to go from 3-1 down to 4-3 up, Desi, what a turnaround. And the building turned around, didn't it? Because it was just our fans wanting us to win and the other 9 against.
It did. It was impressive, and I think as much as Levi and I had done so far, I think that game was an ultimate team effort. Really, everybody chipped in. Go from Walker that really showed up that game, incredible with important goals. Same thing with Frets and Waz and all the other guys that brought it day in day out for the last couple of years. That game, it was really showed what we're all about as a team. And at that point, I think you're kind of getting a little bit delirious, the weight of the whole season in your body. And, now you're getting to second and third period of the last game, and you're down by a few goals and there's really nothing left to lose. So you're like, we're going to give it all our all. And there's no more hockey after this, no matter what. So we may as well leave it out there and see what happens. And it's kind of what happened. And everybody just stepped in and got a couple of goals. And now all of a sudden we were playing on our toes instead of our heels. And then, again, the momentum was back on our side. Walks had to go and, celebrate a little too hard with Cardiff to just give them just a little bit of energy to make sure they were able to come back. But I think it was all good fun, and it was a good celebration.
You played with Frets for a number of years, Levi. Did you ever see him go as crazy as that in all the time you were with him?
No, not at all. I think that's just like Jono there. When they score, they don't show too much emotion, but it was pretty cool, and just to see the excitement on him, and he dusted Army there. Army comes flying in and trying to celebrate, but that was a pretty cool to see him celebrate like that, and just the emotion. It gets you going as a player and as a team. I think that was a big help in getting our spirit and our emotion up there.
Desi, we're 4-3 up and we're battering and we're killing them in this shift. And then I think it was Haddad who broke away, goes to shoot, and he messes his own shot up, and the puck just falls to Ulmer, and he gets the momentum back again, doesn't he? 4-4. But then straight away, Walker gets his second, which gets us back to 5-4. Again, we get a bit of luck this time because I think Marcus goes to one and it comes off the heel of his skate. Great play by Marcus. But Walk's just set play, yeah. Well, Walks, you touched on it there, Levi. But Desi, tell me about Walker, because he came in halfway through the season. He fitted in really well, didn't he? Top bloke. And for him to have that moment was so important.
Yeah, I mean, if you know walks, you know he's not the guy that's going to be explosive and jump around and super fast, but he's got a great shot and he can put the puck in the net, and he does it, and he did it his whole life, no matter where he played. So when we got him in, I think Tomo was kind of wondering, is that going to work? Is that not going to work? I was like, well, if you bring a goal scorer, usually it works pretty well. And Walk's a good guy. Like he's not going to do anything in the locker room that's going to mess up thing. So it was cool to have him, and I was able to play with him. And him and I definitely not the fastest guys on the ice, so it's kind of interesting. But we're pretty big, and we played quite a bit together, and so we were able to get some momentum. And if you put it on this tape that he's got a shot, he's going to put it in, and to bounce back right away and score it right away kind of gave us that momentum back again, because otherwise you're left wondering what's going to happen in the third period.
Levi, correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm sure you will, but actually, didn't you, once Walks arrived, you used to come to the rink with Walks for games on game days? Is that right?
Yeah.
Am I right? Yeah, because he used to worry the life out of me, Desi, because I used to walk into the rink and Levi would be there, the only player there. And then as soon as Walks arrived, Levi almost became the last player to come to the rink because Walks was going for his pre-game meal at Burger King or whatever. And yeah.
Levi, you guys live in the same building, right? If I remember correctly.
Just across.
Across, okay, that's what it was. And then you guys were driving together, I think, right?
Yeah, we always came. Yeah.
That must have drove you insane, because you like to get there 3.5 hours before the game, and Walks likes to arrive 15 minutes before face-off. It was crazy.
I ended up driving by myself most of the time, but getting rides back and forth for practices. Yeah.
Let's go back to the Cardiff game. 30 seconds. Go on, Dizzy, you go.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
Okay. We've had 9 goals. Who'd have known we had to wait nearly 2 hours for the next one? When it goes into overtime, in such a game like that, what is adrenaline that just keeps you going, because everybody's exhausted just watching? But you guys there, when we spoke to Danny Moyer on 9 days, he talks about basically they almost ran out of bars of energy drinks, drinks, all of that kind of stuff. What is it that drives you to keep going?
I mean, it's the winning, right? Like that just gives you energy, and you get your highs and lows, and even in overtime, right? You go on the offense and you get that little boost of energy to give that extra couple of steps of skating. Well, you turn it over, well, it's twice as hard to come back now. So and that's where usually overtime takes a while, because players tend to be a little bit safer and, making smarter decision. And that's probably why it lasted so long. And then players just have to remember to take shots and put it on net, because that's when you create chances. The players that are playing are tired, but you got to keep in mind the goalies, they stand up there for, periods at a time, and they're draining, and there's the amount of sweat they lose in the game is incredible. So goalies tend to be tired as well. So you just have to put more pucks on the net to create chances, and hopefully one trickles in.
Levi, don't talk about the goal just yet, but what are your memories of overtime?
I was just drained, exhausted, hurting, and just trying to make it to the next shift. I don't know, just trying to get through, just battling and trying to do whatever you can to help the team. Yeah.
Just before the 5th period started, I walked around Paul, and I go into the medical room, and you're lying there, doctors, physios around you. Paul wasn't in there, so I walked out. I walked into where Paul and Jerry was, and all of a sudden we heard a scream, and it wasn't a scream like I'd scream. It wasn't like a little girly scream. It was a full out yelp, and it was you, because they just stuck a needle in you. And I remember Paul and Jerry, they'd shot past me, and they came into the room to see what was going on. Just explain what was going on and just how bad you were, because you couldn't walk, could you?
Yeah, no, I couldn't walk. I don't even know how I made it through that. But a lot of like everybody else, I was cramping up, but I was playing with an injury for most the last half of the year, tore my MCL. And I think just with I was trying to keep up with my fluids and everything, but I think just the dehydration, it just, I don't know like I've never felt so much pain in my life. I've had a lot of different injuries, crazy injuries, but by far, whatever was going on there was probably the worst painful feeling I've probably ever felt. Cramping up and yeah, with injuries and just everything just compounding and all into one. So yeah, they gave me that needle there and it took a while to kick in, but whatever it was, I think it helped. Yeah.
I've spoken to Paul about it a thousand, and he tells me that you and him had multitude of run-ins, and he like, do I can't put him out for a shift, and you're saying yes you can, and he's saying no I can't, and just talk us through those run-ins you had with him because they were legendary over the year.
Yeah. No, I mean, you don't like to hear it. You're not. Hey, you can't go. I was like, and a lot like Desi. I mean, Desi knew he was retiring. I didn't. It was kind of in my mind that I might be retiring, and I was just like, "There's no way I'm going to go out like this. There's absolutely no way I'm going to go out like this." So I was just, you know, you work your whole season, your whole career, and for a chance to, be out there and to try to make a difference and help your team win. I was just. I wasn't going to take no for an answer. I was going out there whether he put me out there or not. But yeah, I
And
mean,
Desi, what was it?
just to add to that, like you need to be on the bench year long to hear Levi and Tomo go at it the whole year. I mean, to some teams you'd be worried about it, but for us, it's just no. It's just Levi and Tomo
it's
going at it.
just
That's just normal. That's just the fire that they both had, and it wasn't a bad relationship by any means. There's just they're both fiery personalities and they were going at it. So when Levi says there's nothing I was going to stop him, I bet you he would have just jumped on the ice if Tomo didn't tell him to go anyway. So
I
yeah,
I
definitely a
spoke to
love
him
hate
about an hour.
relationship. Eh?
Yeah, I spoke to him about an hour ago before we started recording this, and he was giggling, and he just goes, I had the same problems with Levi that every other coach had with Levi. He says, except they only had him for half a year. I had to put up with him for 3 years. He said, he was like, I think
Hey, he
I
kept
used to
bringing
have
me
to,
back.
he did. And that's the point he makes. He loves you to bits. Absolutely. Totally. There's total respect. Words he used to me today was, every single shift you knew what you were getting. He was giving everything. And it, like it was on that night. And the other thing he says to me, he says, about you, Desi, Paul says the worst moment he had in Sheffield was in the summer, and he looks at his phone, and his phone's ringing, and it's your name on his phone. And he said, before I answered the phone, I knew what the call was going to be. And he kind of puts it down. That was the start of almost the end because you were such a hard character to replace. There were just a couple of things that he mentioned. Let's go back a moment though. You've won your battle, Levi. You've got on the ice again. I'm sure Dave's going to put all the videos behind this. But just talk us through the shift. Andreas Valdix is past here. What's going through your head? Dowdy burst into the net. In your own words, talk us through that incredible moment.
Just before that, trying to get through all the overtime periods and I remember sitting on the bench there, I was cramping up, my knees hurt and everything's hurting, all these different emotions going through me and trying to decide whether you could go out for that shift or not. I remember, talking to John, I said, hey, be ready for you to take the shifts. And I remember talking to Desi too, hey, be ready because I don't know if I'm going to be able to go. I mean, I remember trying to go for a couple shifts. And, as soon as I step on the ice, no, I can't do it. So I just jump on the ice, do a quick loop, and I come back. And sure enough, whether it was Desi or Jono, they were ready to go out there and take my spot. So for whatever which reason, for that shift right at that face off, I wasn't too sure I was going to go, but just it was a weird feeling. It was just like all the pain kind of went away. So we're lining up there. And it was just a weird feeling, like, all the pain kind of went away and, we lose a draw. Valley makes a great play, gets the puck, and you're, coming down the ice and, normally I'd look to pass, to Dowdy or whatnot, but I ended up taking a shot, laid it all in there, and fortunately enough, it went in.
And then when you hit the glass, and then Dowdy lands on top of you, that's Dean Woolley's photograph of you on the glass is a
Yeah, no,
terrific photograph.
obviously,
But
yeah,
what's the first thing
definitely one of
Dowdy
my.
says to you when that happens?
To be honest with you, I don't have a clue what happened after that. Kind of just blacked out, drained. It just a sigh of relief, and my whole body's cramping up, and everybody's piling in, excitement, and yeah, it was pretty special feeling, and nice to look back at the videos, 9 Days of Madness, just to kind of remember kind of what happened, because in the moment you're
Desi, you
just
were right in
blacking
the
out
middle of
and
that bundle.
enjoying it.
Desi, you were right in the middle of that bundle. What was it like? Because that's the one moment the 20 of you have before everybody else gets to you. You have that few seconds, don't you, just as a group?
Yeah, and it goes by pretty quick. First thing you know, you got to get off the ice and go get undressed. But um, going back to when he came down to take that shot, I think we all had the best seat in the house to see it. He took it between the
Yeah.
legs of the defenseman and he went, right over the bounce shoulder, and we saw it go the whole time going in. And you're kind of what Levi was saying when I scored. You kind of slowly raising on the bench, and then you know as joined as you are, you just celebrate. And I think we just all piled up on him and probably tore his other knee when we jumped on him. But at that point, it's like, well, we're all drained and exhausted and whatnot, but just bring on the beers to the ice. It's time to celebrate. And, it was just incredible feeling. And you're right. It just lasts for a few minutes. And after that, it's kind of like, whew, it's already over. And I can see why people get, addicted to winning, because you chase that high year in and year out. And that feeling right there when you win, that you want to feel again and again. I mean, it's literally like a drug.
Yeah. Do you ever watch that video back and you see Davy Phillips come into that huddle, feet first? I mean, it's just
Come
like,
flying in.
Every time I watch it, I'm like, I'm amazed that nobody got their wrist or neck sliced by skates, because nobody cared at that point. Everybody was just jumping in, and you were on your knees
yeah,
and just flying. And I'm just like, oh boy, what's happening?
yeah, yeah. What the memories then back in the dressing room afterwards? Well, on the ice, actually. Let's start on the ice, because there's on that 9 days, there's that great video of you, Desi, when you go to the fans, you're on one leg and you start high fiving fans over the plexiglass, and because
Yeah.
they were an amazing part of that whole 2.5, 3 hours, because the other 9 teams, they all wanted Cardiff to win the Grand Slam. It was only that bank of orange that really had any
Mhm.
interest in us winning it. And our fans played their part that night, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, it's the loudest you're going to hear Nottingham building cheering for the Steelers, really. Even though everybody wants us to lose. No, they really carried us, especially when it was, we're down, when it was tight, like the energy. I remember going to face off the side that we scored the overtime goal. I think it was in the
Yeah.
third period. I went to face off on the left wing, and they're basically right. Everybody's behind me, our fans, and they're all cheering, and it kind of gives you that energy to jump off the draw and try to get the first step, because otherwise you're just like, all you're doing is leaning on your stick and hope, praying for the best. But no, it gives you that extra energy to go out with your shifts. So definitely a big part.
You came You came back the following year, Levi, and you had the adulation. I can remember at the shirt launch, the place went crazy. I think one of the sponsors who bought your shirt that day presented it to you, the shirt you were wearing. Um, Desi even tried to go one better than you at the arena. He scored a goal against Nottingham at 59-59. He was trying to get that
Yeah.
iconic goal of the arena. He
I
even did
saw
that the
that.
following year. Yeah, that's a pretty cool moment. Pretty cool moment. Nice backhand finish, Levi. Um, what going back, Levi? You saw just how much it meant to everybody, and that year afterwards, you were welcome back, and you hold such a place in their hearts because of that goal. You surely feel that, yes?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, you're reminded of it every time you click on Facebook or whatever. Fans are always reaching out and keeping in touch with you, kind of thing. But yeah, that was it was pretty special, that's for sure. Obviously, it was a great year for everybody. Everybody did their part. Yeah, I scored the goal, but it was everybody played their part in winning that year. And so they should all be getting the same recognition as I am. But yeah, just definitely memories I'll have for the rest of my life. That's for sure.
Yeah, but they're not on this video. It's just you two, so it's okay. Desi, you came back as well, didn't you? You came back. You had to say Terrell properly, Terrell, because the previous time you were on the ice was when you scored that goal, but you had to come back once more, and you got an incredible ovation, didn't you? That must feel nice. You put the jacket on, you go with centre ice, and the whole building just erupts for you.
Yeah, no, it was well. First and foremost, it was kind of I was very fortunate and amazed by the Steelers, to bring me back just for. I mean, just for that, I'll say it like this: just for me to step on the ice, I think that was a very nice gesture, Tony and everybody at the Steelers. I know Tony had a big part in that as well, but we won those playoffs, and then you get a couple of days of celebration, in Sheffield, but everybody kind of splits apart after and go back to their home and their families. So for me, I know there's a lot of new players, but most of the core of the players are still there. So it was a good way for me to rekindle with everyone in the locker room and kind of have a couple of days of hanging out with them. I got to make the trip down to Cardiff on the bus with them as well that weekend. So It's kind of last hoorah, I guess, with the boys. But no, it's nice, and the fans, obviously the reaction when I went on the ice. You seeing each other going on the ice, and it was like, well, I'm never going to get anything like that. And for me, it was as close as it's going to get. So pretty fortunate.
Yeah. Before we wrap up, if I asked you for a Steelers memory each, something that you always keep in your head, would it be that goal, or would it be something more subtle? Would it be something different? Levi, what's your favourite Sheffield memory?
My favorite Sheffield memory, I mean, obviously that's the goal is the one that stands out. It's just because it's it's always getting brought up and all that, right? But yeah, just celebrating after it was pretty cool coming back to the arena, and you get thousands of fans there, right? There's thousands of fans waiting for you at the arena, and so that was pretty cool. I think just my whole time there, Sheffield in general, such a great organization, and such a great fan base, passionate fan base. I was lucky enough to play a few different places over in Europe and throughout my career, but definitely Sheffield is number one for sure. Just well run, and just the fans are unreal, and the core Brits they have there that are still there. It was a good way to finish off my career for sure.
Yeah, we fired Jono 4 times. He just keeps going back. He's 43 now. He's still coming back every year. Desi, one moment from you. One moment that sticks with you.
I think the playoff run as a whole, as far as on ice memories, kind of sticks. I mean, it's hard to, like Levi was saying, it's hard to not remember that one as the main memory. But I do say that Steelers are very family the guys in the locker room, most of them have kids, and everybody's always welcome. And I know after games there's always, Levi, you're doing the same, our kids would come in the locker room after games, and you don't get to do that very many places, and that was kind of cool to see. And I tell my daughter, right, we talked about it, remember Sheffield, and she was 2 or 3 at the time, and he used to come in the locker room and hang out and kick the soccer ball and whatnot. So, oh yeah, that was fun, and it's a very faint memory, but it's something that I'm going to have for the rest of my life, and that goes past and beyond any on ice accomplishment that we did, really.
Yeah. Well, talking of memories, you two have provided us with the playoff memory, but your goals, your iconic goals and iconic moments are possibly 2 of the best, well, in my opinion, the 2 biggest moments in our club's 30 years history. So we thank you for them. We thank you for coming on tonight. I know it's early in the morning in one part of the world and a bit later at night at the other. But Desi, Levi, you're welcome in Sheffield anytime you get on a plane. The arena doors are always open for you. The Army are in there at the moment. But they've taken over the arena at the moment. They're in our locker room. They're everywhere with all this COVID business. But once we kick the Army out, you know that place is already always welcome for you too. Thanks very much for joining us, boys.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.